Today we're going to talk about why you should never base your price on your competitions. So before you get into this, guys, like, subscribe, and share this channel. The more likes this channel gets, the more this information gets pushed to everyone. I appreciate your guys' help. Let's get right into this. So this is a really important topic because I hear a lot of business people, a lot of people getting into the industry, talking about how they're basing their prices, what they're basing their prices off of. And as much as it's okay to do market research to find out what competition is charging, you should not base your prices off of the competition. Yes, you should find out what the competition's charging. Yes, you should know what your market, the supposed market threshold, what people are willing to pay. Yeah, you should figure those things out. But honestly, you can sell at a higher rate for quality, for a new level of service, for something other people aren't offering. And in our industry, if you're offering great customer service, if you're offering someone answering the phone, a staffed office, I mean, you're so valuable. Because the common thing is to be a one-man band. Someone who doesn't answer the phone, has a pile of messages and maybe gets back to him in the evening, or has shoddy, unreliable communication. It's so common. So you don't need to sell off of what other people are charging. You need to know your own price. And the bigger reason I say this is, even though market analysis and knowing all this is good, and I've talked about doing that before and finding out what other people are charging, you really need to know what it costs you to do business. I've done a little brief overview of how we calculate our man-hour rate, how we do those things. I'm going to do we're going to go into it right.
Okay, so like I said, I'm going to go over you with this job costing, not actually job costing, way to formulate your hourly rate, because it's so important. You don't want to just focus on what the market charges. You don't want to look at someone charging, a business charging $25 a cut, or $25 an hour, or $70 an hour. First, before you do anything, you want to look at your numbers. So this has got, really getting rid of a lot of these things, because this is irrelevant to you guys. But to put in numbers, say you spend $200 on insurance. You have some sort of system to keep track of things for you to make you more efficient. You have cell phones for your office. You have some kind of small shop you rent. I don't know what your office supplies are. Say you market. I hope you market. I hope you at least spend $1,000 a month on marketing. But utilities, I don't know what that is to you. Random monthly expense. I always bake in extras just to make sure I've got plenty and I'm accounting for everything. Health insurance for the office. These are kind of random numbers that I just put in. This doesn't even mean these things are real. It's just to get a basis built on kind of building out our pricing. And then coming up with a total overhead price for the year, fixed overhead price. So with this number, then you can figure out how many hours a day you have to recover that, and then you also can go against how many team members you have to recover that. So in this scenario, this portion lets you pick just how many for what you're assuming you're going to have average for the year, but I broke that down one farther into this adjusted average hours in season. It's actually adjusted people. It's taking this number and getting a real number based off this. This is what I expect to have in the season running our business. That's how many employees. That's how we're going to break it down. And then that's how we came up with these numbers. So with this is saying over the year, with the expected hours we expect to work, $18.31 needs to get recovered an hour. If you screenshot this stuff, if you use this, you build out a little Excel spreadsheet, this is going to just add this up, and you can do the math to get down to this hourly rate. That's what's going to recover you for your overhead, your fixed overhead. And then we set up a separate one. Here's for landscaping, and this is for lawn care. So lawn care, this is what our crews run: a 52, a 36, some sort of truck, push mower, backpack blower, 2 weed eaters, hand blower, edger. Small stuff is kind of like a miscellaneous item, and then an estimated amount of fuel per season. And then now we take this, gives you the year total, and then we're able to back work this based on all the other numbers. There's 190 days to recover this, hours to recover this, and you might look at the 190 days and say that's a long season. This crew's out doing fall cleanups, they're out doing stuff, we're pushing this like we barely don't work. If anybody stops working, it's for a month to 2 months in the season. And then lawn care crew members, there's 2. And then the average pay, that's very important. The average pay is 14. You take your guy's pay and then you figure out the average between the 2. So if there's 2 guys, one's 16, one's this, you take the 2, you add them together, you divide by 2, that gives you your average. Then here is the loaded average, which is basically where we're at. It's around 25% we add that the company is going to pay on top of their rate to actually employ them. So with all this and all this breakdown against how many days to recover, we've came to this amount per hour to run this crew. So here on this figure, this company that we've built, because we've been putting prices in as we go, its break even is $42.15 for lawn care, plus 15% margin is $49.53. Okay, and then this is going to calculate, and it's going to add up what your actual money is, recovering all of your overhead and recovering all of your costs, your cost of goods sold, which is everything that goes into actually completing the job, plus a margin. And that's going to give you your hourly rate that you need to charge. Same thing's done for landscaping. In this example, we figure that we tied our equipment into it. So we tied in the cat, the ditch witch, the truck, the dump trailer, an equipment trailer. These were like halved rates for what this stuff costs because 2 separate crews split this. That's how I did it. There's a million different ways to recover. There's a million different ways to figure out your price. This is the system that I used that has always netted me great results. And if you want to take screenshots of this, here's the lower half of this, and then I'll scroll up for you. This should get you almost everything. And then there's a little last piece on the top. But yeah, so this is some of the notes I make. This is how easy it is to use a Google Sheet like this, so it's viewable for everyone. And this is why it's so important to put all these numbers together. What it costs you to actually keep the business going that's fixed prices. What it costs you to be out in the field right here to do the actual work. Cost of goods sold right here, plus materials cost of goods sold. And then right here, everything cost of goods sold on the landscaping or lawn care other than some of the small material. That kind of is a different little thing that's above and beyond what this hourly rate, because it's not going into our hourly rate. These materials charged for separately. But that's how we figure it out. That's how we base our estimates off of. Don't look at these aren't our real ones. These aren't our real ones here. This is just kind of a test sheet to show you guys. So let's hop on back into the video.
I meant to say now. We're going to go into it right now. I cut you off and I got right into it, but I hope what I just showed you, the job costing, I hope what I just showed you on how to figure out the cost of doing business made sense, because that's really what you need to know. Where those prices come from. Guys, all prices are made up anyway. Someone created the spreadsheet, they made up numbers, they made up their predictions, and then they made up a price. But you really need to at least know while you're making up these prices that you're recovering what it costs for you to do business. This is a huge, huge deal. This is the reason businesses go under. People come in as have an entrepreneur spirit but have no sense of financials. And then they just go in and they want to sell work. So they find out what the competition charges. And then they charge a little bit less because, man, I just need to get some work, right? And in the end, you're just killing yourself. I understand coming in and getting work and needing it, but you can't sell at a low, low price. You cannot sell at less than it costs to run the business. But here's the deal. If you do your market analysis and $45 a man hour, $80 a man hour, it doesn't matter. We'll just call it 50. The markets are so different. It's so different everywhere that any of these numbers, I don't want you to listen to any of these numbers. That sheet I showed you earlier, I don't want you to look at any of those numbers and assume that your business is the same as mine. You need to do your own. But if the market is saying it'll pay 50 and you can actually operate your business at $35 a man hour, go for it. As long as it's recovering all of your expenses and you're paying yourself and you're making a profit, go for it. Charge whatever you want. But a lot of what I see is people getting into the business, they're a one-man band, they don't account for anything. They don't account for any growth. They don't account for any broke down equipment. They don't account for buying anything new. They don't account for expanding their business. And if they don't account for expanding their business, what happens? What happens when it grows? If you were able to charge $35 a man hour because you never anticipated your insurance going from $200 a month to $2,000 a month, you never anticipated your guys to need to get paid more. You never anticipated someday needing someone in office to take one of the 15 hats you're wearing and wear it themselves. And you get going in this direction, you're making all this money when you're doing it alone. It is so freaking beyond belief easy to make money and be profitable when it's a tiny little business. No knock to small business. That's not a bad thing at all. That's why some people get in the deal of they just want to downsize because they want it to be less stressful, because there's a wide growth period where it's going to be a lot. Like, it costs a lot to go through it, and it costs a lot to get to the other side where things are awesome. So that's why a lot of businesses stay in a small business sector. They might get up to 250,000. It starts getting stressful because they start thinking about having maybe a couple crews, and then they start running people, and they're doing it all themselves, and all of a sudden they've got as much hair as me. Now, I'd like to say it wasn't the business that caused me to lose the hair, but when they're doing that, when they're growing, and what I'm talking about is that when you're in that small business, you maybe a couple guys on that truck with you, it's so easy to make money. It's so easy to keep it staffed with work. You don't really need to spend that much marketing. You can go on word of mouth and stay busy. And since you're doing everything, there's nobody to pay out. There's nothing to erode the profit. You don't have someone in the office answering the phone, most likely. You don't have someone else out helping manage all of the stuff. You haven't really got, since you're the highest man on the totem pole or highest woman on the totem pole, you don't have anybody else out in the field that you have to pay more than you, because you're upper management. You're controlling it all, and it's all riding on you to get it right. And when it's like that, it's so easy to make money. So that's why, in my opinion, people will get in and they'll think that it only costs this much to operate a business, because at that time it does, and then they don't account for it growing. And then through that change of it starting small and transitioning, they wonder why there's no money. And even when you charge a lot, there's times where it's like it takes it all to keep going and to push through to that next level. So this is why it's so important to not just charge the market going rate, to know the true cost. Go back to that spreadsheet, take a screenshot of that thing, and use it to know what it costs you to run your business. Elaborate on it, add in additions, change it a little bit, make your own spreadsheet. It's so simple. The best thing I can tell you to do is get on Google Sheets, get on Microsoft Excel, and learn how to use it. It will help you understand your numbers. It will calculate everything for you. You need to know all of your fixed costs, what it's going to cost, how long it's going to take to recoup those things. And until you know all of those numbers, all of your fixed costs, what all is involved in running your business, you cannot possibly come up with an hourly rate that you have any confidence in operating at. But when you do, you will have the comfort to know, however it was that you designed this number, however you projected these things, you have the comfort in knowing that you can grow your business. You can put the pedal to the floor, and you can go and sell at that rate. You can go job cost your jobs at that rate. You can be successful at that rate. And every year, Every quarter, you can evaluate these things and you can keep changing it for your business because you weren't one of the people that looked at what everybody else was charging and decided to do the same. I hope you got the value that was in this video. I hope you took a lot from this. If you didn't catch it all, if you think there was still more, go listen to it again. Go watch it again. Take notes. Take a screenshot of some of those different things of the actual spreadsheet I showed you about how to know your numbers, how to go through your numbers, how to build your numbers. Guys, leave a comment below. Share with me what your thoughts were on this. Share with me what you're doing on this. Share with me your failures on how you didn't know how to do this, or how you're better than me and you know a bunch about doing this, and educate me some more on this, because knowing your numbers is the holy grail of business. Guys, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down there to let me know what you thought. And guys, I can't wait to keep this journey going with you. I'll talk to you soon.